ahead and do relationship advice. If you participated in this year's Valentine's Day quiz, you have the chance to ask and also give relationship advice to me and my viewers. So I wrote them down on cue cards once again. Very cute. So feel free to screenshot or like make little edits, make little TikTok fan cams. I'm fine with that. First, we are going to do your guys' advice that you gave me and everybody else. And then we'll move on to direct questions. So first thing somebody said was be nice. It's the bare minimum. I thought this one was really funny. So this person said, be nice. 6 exclamation points. Bare minimum in parentheses. This one seems fairly straightforward. Oh, also this one is from Hi Hacker, which is like, makes sense. I feel like this should be pretty straightforward, right? Like if you are with somebody, you should be nice to them. But it also kind of alludes to the bigger theme of like abuse and domestic violence. Trigger warning. I'll put resources in the description. There's also a national hotline you can call on a website. If your partner or even your friends aren't being nice to you, aren't calling you nice things, then that's not a safe situation. They don't truly care for you. And if you are in a space to where you can leave the relationship, it's probably best that you do. Because you never know what things will affect you on later in life and then your future relationships. So be nice to your partner. You don't have to be like overly accommodating, but just be nice. Try to notice little things about them. Go out of your way to do things. You know, the peeling oranges theory that's gone viral this year. Just be nice. And honestly, in the big scheme of things, little things will matter the most. Find happiness without your partner. This person said, it's almost impossible to be in a happy and healthy relationship if you can't find happiness without your partner and aren't healthy as a person. This is from Not Mac in chat. I think Mac said this last year, but it's still very prevalent. You have to have your own sense of identity. You can't have your spouse or your partner be your whole life. You need to have your own hobbies, the own things that you like, your own aspirations and career goals. You can't be doing everything just for them. This is like very prevalent to me now as well. Because most of you guys know I'm technically disabled. I have a big brain and other conditions that are to be determined. I'm going to the doctor tomorrow. Anyway, if I ever do pursue someone in the future, like I'm going to have to probably be like very reliant on them. What I'm trying to do now that, you know, I'm alone, I have to figure out like what my dreams are, what I want my future to be, and try to do as much of that as I can on my own. This one, I did not like. It seems that both years we've done this, there's been 1 or 2 advice that I do not like. This one has red pill energy. Go ahead and rate it. Don't limit yourself to one crush. I'm not gonna say who said this, because I don't like it. I don't want any hate threads. This person said, don't limit yourself to one crush. It's best to keep your options open in case one of the crushes doesn't like you back. I think the keyword that can save them is they said the word crush, not love interest. I understand that it's like fairly common if you are like casually dating that you are like dating multiple people. I do think it's very scummy when people who are dating multiple people are like smashing multiple people. I think that is scum because we hate STIs. I think this only is valid and makes sense if you're in a setting to where you're not like actively pursuing multiple people. Because to me, crush is like someone you admire, right? Like someone you see in the halls, or maybe like your little work person you're like, oh, they're cute to look at. I think this is also like kind of valid. Like if your crush doesn't like you back, like don't be too beat up about it, right? It's just a crush. It's one-sided. If it doesn't work out, it's fine. This is only fine if you don't actively pursue multiple people. Like I said, them saying crush makes this like salvageable. But this isn't the best. I feel like if you have multiple crushes, you don't really like those people. That's what I think as well. Okay, obviously people are different. There are individuals who like their crushes based more on like aesthetics and like how they look. And then there's also people who like the emotional aspect more. I'm definitely one of the people where I have to like the person before I pursue them. I don't want nobody who's gonna hurt me. I have to genuinely like them as a friend, typically first, and then romantically. Yeah, this one, I don't like this one. Put it in the trash. If you're fighting, don't text. Vouch. This is great. Just in general, I hate texting because it's so hard to convey tone, even with tone indicators. It's so difficult. That's why I use emojis in like most every single text message I send nowadays. But if you're fighting, seriously, wait a little bit till they're like ready to talk and talk things through properly. Or like if it's virtual, wait till they're like ready to have a call. Because when you're texting, usually you can like rapidly send messages, so you're not necessarily thinking as thoroughly as you could if you're on the phone. And when you're in person fighting or arguing, you can like see them like get upset by what you're saying. But when you're texting, it's hard to read tones, you can't see how they're physically reacting. So if you're fighting, just wait. Wait for them to respond to you, wait for a phone call, wait till you can talk to them in person. Obviously, if it's like more of a dire situation, then it can't wait, but otherwise wait it out. But also, don't press the person to talk and communicate. You genuinely have to wait for them to be ready, because if you try to force them to talk, that's just going to create more mistrust. Don't text, or just don't text at all. Texting is dumb. Make sure to have good communication. Exclamation point. This is from Kobobo. I think this is the most basic advice you can give. Why? Because what is good communication? What does this mean? Kobobo, you're in chat. Tell me what good communication is. Because you don't have a Valentine this year, okay? What does this mean? Because communication is one of those buzzwords. No! She's gagging you. Okay, let me fix my camera. Your cam silenced you, yeah. It means being able to talk things out and saying how you feel. Then say that next time. Don't just say good communication. Because good communication is something that all the little influencers will say as buzzwords. They don't truly explain. Communication to one person can mean like, oh, I'm texting, I'm literally communicating and telling them. But if the other person isn't receiving what you're saying, if they aren't picking up what you're putting down, then you don't know how to communicate with that person. There's a lot of nuance to this because everybody communicates in slightly different ways. And obviously, as you are dating somebody for longer, you'll learn how they communicate. So I think your best arsenal, your best toolkit is understanding how you yourself communicate best. And then from your family, friends, learn how they also communicate. That way you can take what you learned to any relationship that you have. Please calls my user out, but not the other one. No, this is like, okay, this is still like good advice. You know how in school they have like difficulties? This is like a level 3 answer when I want a level 4 or 5. Give me more meat and potatoes, you know? This is too basic. This one I think was really good. Be honest with your intentions. Be honest with your intentions, like with what you want from the relationship. This is from the roomies, specifically my sister. So I made my sister sit down and take the quiz, and she initially for this part said, be honest. And I turned to her and I said, that's like a first grade answer. What does be honest mean? And she's like, I don't know. And I was like, okay, break it down. Because be honest to you might mean something different to everybody else. And then she was like, well, if you are going to like date someone, you don't want to like want different things, or if you're gonna do Tinder, you don't want to like smash and then like them later. And I was like, that's a very good point. And I think that is so prevalent because, like, you know the cliche of, oh my god, we are smashing, we found on Tinder and I somehow love them now. Like, you can't go into a situation wanting different things because ultimately you are gonna get hurt. If you are pursuing casual relationships when you truly want something long term, you're only going to hurt yourself. And then the other person is going to lead you on. And that's just going to leave a bad taste in your mouth. And also vice versa. If you are looking for something more meaningful and you're only doing hookups, then maybe you aren't doing the right thing either. Especially when you hit my age, like the 25 to 30, you know, everybody's getting married, everybody having kids. You need to like sit down and seriously think about what you want in your life. And you need to determine if whoever you pursue will align with your goals and aspirations. Like, don't be sitting down at the first date being like, I want 5 kids, or I want a mansion. Like, have those things in the back of your mind, but if you see that your partner or whoever you're dating doesn't line up with that, you need to communicate that. You need to express what your goals are and see if you guys are on the same page. Yes, there could be compromises. Shut up, Electra. I'm not having kids. Dude, if I had a kid, it would cripple me more. It would be so painful. Also, there's like so much stuff about childbirth that like they don't tell you. Look up the husband stitch. I think it's really funny when men are like, ooh, I want a baby, but then they don't support their spouse when they're like pregnant. I also think it's unfair how in the heteronormative society, men are less entitled to maternity leave when, okay, I didn't know this. I'm not gonna say this on screen. I didn't know this, but if you were like breastfeeding your child, you have to pump like every 2 to 3 hours. I didn't realize it was that intense. Like, no wonder they can't sleep. Yeah, it leaks. I knew that it leaks, but like, I didn't know you had to pump that often. And pumping allegedly really hurts. It's like someone is nibbling for like 20 minutes straight. Anyway, and also like it can mutilate your genitals. Know your worth. You deserve the world. Don't settle. This person said, please, in all caps. Know your worth. You deserve the world. And don't settle for anything lower. You are, in caps. In fact, that. From Daniel Crystal in chat. I think this is something that it feels like fake to hear, but sometimes you need to hear it to hype you up. Everybody has like self-esteem issues. Everybody's sad and depressed. And you know what? Sometimes you need someone to gas you up. This is what you say to your friend when she like is going through a breakup or when her like boyfriend is a jerk. The only thing I don't like about this type of sentiment in general is that people will go into relationships wanting more than they can get, I think. Because then you're gonna run into an issue of having like this perfect person in your mind, but more likely than not, that person doesn't exist. If you want a mansion, if you want a sugar daddy, yeah, you can probably find that. But for whatever complex person you're thinking of in your mind, you're probably not going to easily find that. So, not saying that you should settle. Like, obviously have your own boundaries and red flags that you adhere to. But don't dismiss somebody just because they don't check all your boxes. If you're going to dismiss everybody who doesn't match your ideal type, then you aren't going to be with somebody for a long time, probably. So have, like, a set, like, small list of things that you like and admire in a person. And then try to go with that list and then make exceptions. Communicate your feelings. This person said, it's a very tired thing to say, but communication of feelings. This is from Af Sao Dauda. Going back to the theme of communicating is like the basic. But I think that since this person specifically said communicate your feelings, like being truly honest, going back to the honest with your intentions, and then also like being able to feel vulnerable with somebody else. Obviously, like, don't trauma dump on a first date, don't do that. But don't be afraid to open up to like your friends or your partner over time. Vulnerability, in my opinion, builds trust. Whenever you open up to somebody, you'll see how they receive it, and then you can truly tell if they do care about you as much as they say they do. Because it's very easy to say, oh, I love you, but then when hardship comes, are they really gonna stick around? Before true hardship comes out, you need to know how they'll receive and maybe reciprocate your feelings. This one blew my mind. Genuinely, this next one. The word friend is still in boyfriend. This person said, in quotes, friend, end quote, is in the word boyfriend / girlfriend for a reason. Don't waste your time on someone who can't be there for you. From Mother Electra in chat. This one, when I read it, I was literally shook. Oh my god. I was like, I had been looking for a way to word this for the longest time, because something that I've been preaching for like forever is whichever person you pursue has to be emotionally mature. Like, you have to trust that they will be willing to communicate, to be there for you, like be a support along with like a romantic person. Like obviously smashing is fun, but you need somebody who will be there for you through the hard times. So when I read this, I was like, holy moly! I think that's why a lot of married couples who are still married will say that their spouse is their best friend. And if you think about it, it makes so much sense. Because once you get married, you're going to be spending a lot more time together, you're probably going to live together at some point. You're also going to be isolating yourself more so. Because when you have a partner, like whether casual or serious relationship, you're probably going to be spending less time with your friends. So then, indirectly, your partner should become your best friend. I don't understand the relationships where like, I only married you because I think you're hot. I know that doesn't happen often, but it's so stupid. If you're going to be spending literally your whole life and like so much of your day-to-day with this person, you have to be friends with them still. I think it's the best thing I've ever read. Hashtag real. Hashtag I'm not lying. I will say this from now on. Viewer give it advice. Wait, this is from me. I forgot. Establish and uphold your boundaries. This one I think is really important. Because everybody's yapping like boundaries, boundaries, boundaries. But you don't know how to communicate. And then also, you need to actually be firm with your boundaries. If you don't like something, you have to communicate that. And then if after you communicate, the person doesn't reciprocate or doesn't listen to you or follow through in their actions, then they don't respect you. To be blunt, they don't. Because respecting other people's boundaries comes down to empathy. If they aren't able to understand what you are feeling, what you are going through, and not do what you request, if it's reasonable and they still don't do it, they don't respect you. Going back to the friend and boyfriend, your partner has to respect you. Not everybody is going to be like super emotionally mature, especially if you're young. But if you don't like something and they do said thing, you need to be firm about it. Because if you let them get away with it one time, they're gonna keep doing it. Everybody has a little cell phone, right? You're probably texting your partner all day. A boundary that I personally have with like my friends is that please don't message me past 8 p.m. I'll be honest, I go to bed at like 8 now, but I usually knock out at 9 or 10. And I think that is a relatively healthy boundary because you don't want to have direct access to anybody at any given time. Yes, if there's an emergency, like, yeah, you can call them, like, that's fine. But you should not need that attention all the time. Not messaging past 8 is crazy. Well, I wake up at like 5 or 6, so I'm usually like dead at that time anyway. Is this why I'm single? Is this why? Because I don't text past 8? Imagine. Now that I've read all the advice that my viewers gave me and chat, I'm gonna go ahead and answer your guys' relationship advice inquiries. So let's go ahead and get started. First off, the classic. How do I tell someone I have a crush on them? I mean, it's pretty easy. You just tell them you like them. You pull them into your group chat, and then you have your friends flame you. And then you confess. Easy. I've confessed to so many people. Like, honestly, what's the worst that could happen? They say no, uh-oh, then you know you can just, like, have a new crush. If it's a crush, you aren't dating. You have nothing to lose. If it's a friend, then yeah, -1 friend, but you probably wouldn't have been able to stay friends anyway if you held it back. So just do it. Shia LaBeouf, just do it. Tell them you like them. Maybe make them a little card. Say what you like about them. And just go for it. It's pretty simple. If you want a script, you can be like, hey, blank. I like blank, blank, blank about you. How about we go to the park and ride skateboard? Or how about we go get coffee? There you go. All you gotta do is copy and paste. What if my partner snores? I'm gonna self-report. I snore. I snore really loud. It's so embarrassing. I know this because my sister and a previous partner told me I snore so loud. I get it from my dad. I just hope one day I don't need a CPAP machine. If they snore, if you're rich, get a separate bed and a separate bedroom. Or you can get some little earplugs, you know, shove them in your ears. Have your partner get a sleep study because maybe they need a CPAP. Online dating, when should we meet? In person. This person said, how soon do you think you should meet in person if you're online dating? I don't know. I genuinely don't know. Like, I've only dated in person. I genuinely don't see myself ever dating online. Because, like, I'll be honest, I love hugs. Like, they're very cool. And I hate texting, so, like, if I were to date somebody online, like, I wouldn't text them enough, I think. And I think that would cause rifts in the relationship. But, like, my biggest fear is, like, what if they're, like, bad or scary? It is really cute, like, seeing people who date online, like, meet in person. The videos where they're at the airport and they fly into each other's arms. That's genuinely so cute. And in, like, a traditional relationship, the honeymoon phase is 3 months. So usually if you get past the 3-month hump, you're solid. So I think if you're dating somebody online and you're able to, like, stay actively engaged and, like, still enjoy your conversations at, like, the 3 to 6 month mark, then I think that's, like, fine enough to meet them in person. I've never dated online, so I don't know. I thought honeymoon phase was a year. No, honey, it is not a year. Oh my god. If you were, like, so infatuated with somebody that you were, like, still, like, giddy and, like, excited about everything you do with them for a year, either you were, like, clueless or you really think love is love. I've never heard that. It's not a year. When should I define the relationship? I did paraphrase this question a little bit. This person said, how soon is too soon to get into a relationship? I don't know if I'm qualified to answer this because I've only dated one person. And that person was a friend, right? I think whenever you are pursuing someone who is a friend, you kind of always skirt the line of you still care for each other, just not necessarily romantically until later on when you know them, right? When I say define the relationship, I think the standard meaning is like being exclusive. It's common for people, if you're casually dating, where you just like will hook up with multiple people, and that's normal. I don't necessarily like that. I don't like STIs, you know? But that's just common. Because you don't necessarily know which of the people you're pursuing will, like, you don't know who's gonna work out, right? I don't date like that, so I don't necessarily understand it. To me, defining means exclusivity. And I think you should define the relationship when you feel like you know the person at, like, more of a human level. Because if you're just hooking up, like, you're smashing, you're obviously attracted to them, or if you're just dating. But once you see, like, a little glimmer of their morality, or I guess they're, like, okay, I was gonna say consciousness, but of course they're alive. That's not the right word. Or when they share an opinion that you, like, truly resonate, or a perspective that you really connect with, that's when I think you should try and be exclusive. If it's someone that you can see yourself being with for, like, months or years on end, that's when you should take the step and be like, hey, let's not smash anybody else. Let's become boyfriend-girlfriend, or girlfriend-girlfriend, or boyfriend-boyfriend, or partner-partner, you know? How do I know they're in love? This person asks, what subtle signs do you think people give out to show that one is in love? Controversial. You will see little videos or read books of people being like, oh, if they do blank, blank, blank for you, then they love you. Love means different things to different people, right? There's also so many different love languages. Like, it can be physical touch, words of affection, gifts, tasks. Like, there's so many different things and ways that people can show. And there's obviously ways that you receive those different ways of showing affection. I don't think there's, like, a die-hard list of things to know when your partner loves you. But I know for me, I like, okay, this is gonna be cringe, but, like, I literally felt it. I felt it in my gut. You almost feel like this, like, internal yearn when they're not around, and then also, like, a sense of, like, enlightenment whenever you are around them. I think it's also difficult because I'm the type of person who, like, will literally feel my feelings. Like, I feel a sensation for most any, like, emotional state I'm in. It's weird. Or maybe I'm just, like, too empathetic. I don't know. But how do you know when they're in love with you? You'll know. And if you have to ask, then you haven't felt it yet. Keyword yet. It could still happen. Like, don't give up on it yet. It'll happen. How do I communicate better? As I talked about earlier, you need to know how you yourself communicate and how you receive information, whether it be like verbally or like subtle signs, right? And then from that point on, you will learn to pick up how the other person communicates. There are like more straightforward ways on how to communicate better. Obviously, like trying to compose yourself with empathy, like understand how you feel, how other people perceive how you feel, and then also try to assume what the other person is feeling, because that at its core is what empathy is. Being able to understand what other people are going through, and then also trying to think to yourself what that experience will be like. So if you want to know how to communicate better, you have to learn how to empathize on a human level. And you can do that by having more discussions, literally asking people how or why they think the way they do. I will do this with my sister a lot, where I'm like, okay, you said something simple, how about you try to break it down? This may mean one thing to you, but then a totally different thing to me. And I think in order to like communicate well, you do have to listen, but you have to actively listen. So even if you're sitting like looking, like some nods, some smiles, some gasps will help them, because that shows that you're receiving what they are telling you. Just some simple things. Just try to live your life with empathy, and I think you'll be fine. How many red flags is too many? This person said, how many red flags until I should stop liking someone? If you are asking how many is too many, then there's probably like too many already. I don't think there's a definite number, because for some people, if they see one red flag, they'll dip, which I don't think necessarily is as healthy either. Going back to the point of you can't necessarily have the perfect person. Nobody can be the perfect person in your mind. Like, that would just be yourself then, right? To me, it's not like the amount of red flags, it's what the red flag is. If the red flag is calling you at work and you don't like that, that's a behavior that can be changed, right? But if it's like a red flag where they are being verbally manipulative or abusive, then that's not good. Like, that's a huge red flag versus a smaller one. If you want a number, if you want to write this down and put it in your abacus, I would have to say one major flag is too many. A major flag, in my opinion, is anything that can make you feel unsafe or unloved in the future, present or future. And I think if someone is demonstrating 3 smaller red flags, so that can be breaking your boundary once, maybe your parents don't like them, that's a red flag. Not tipping the server. Like, those are all like more minor red flags. Those are things that someone can change for the better over time. But more extreme and abusive behaviors are usually not changeable. Just the normal cycle of abuse, it's repetitive behaviors, and usually if you let it slide once or twice, they're not going to change. They're gonna need some type of professional help, and you don't necessarily have to be in that picture. If you are in an unsafe situation, you need to get out. We ended on a heavy note, but thank you everybody who gave advice and then also asked for advice. Thank you once again. The 2nd annual Peacein rizzlord stream.